One. Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast with
S.
and K. Today we have no special guests, but we're super excited to not because we have a great topic on something that I think we both kind of relate to in different aspects, and I think you'll get
Yes.
to hear both stories pretty clearly and see how we deal with it. So today our topic, oh thank you, it's getting chilly in my room. I don't think it's been this cold in a minute. Because it's low-key supposed to be
Hold on. Okay.
it's low-key supposed to be summer, but spring is being really weird and it's being like 50 degrees and then 80 the next. It's stupid. But our topic today is confrontation, and this is something that I'm very good at, but
On the other hand, I'm not very good at confrontation unless I'm very strong. Okay, actually, I can confrontate on if you're talking bad about me. Like if I hear that you're talking bad about me, I'm gonna confront you. I'm gonna go up to you and ask you if that's true, and see if you're whether you're gonna own up to it to my face. That's what I like to do. I like to do that because then when people find out that you know and you go up to them, they get scared to what's it called? Talk to you. Like if I'm like, Kayla, so I heard you talking bad about me. What were you saying? They're like, oh, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I just like confronting people when I hear that I'm being talked about because let's see if you'll say it to my face. But other than that, confrontation is not for me.
Confrontation is definitely a hard thing, and it's something that you definitely have to learn over time, and its impact is very strong, and it can be negative or positive. But most of the times I personally find that it's positive, which I very much enjoy because it clears up the arguments or whatever is going on. But before we begin, let's talk about our weeks a little bit. What happened for you, girl?
This past week? Nothing really happened. I just last time we left off, it was Easter weekend, and that weekend was good. Church was really, really good on the Sunday. I had a week of school. We had ISAP, so that wasn't the best, but it wasn't really that bad, to be honest. I mean, I'm glad it's over, but it wasn't that bad. Then I had volleyball on Monday. Then I just didn't have any volleyball. I had Monday. Tuesday, my friends came over. We hung out. Wednesday, there was no church because the parking lot was getting fixed up. So we had a little Bible study at Abby's house with everyone. That was good too. We had good topics, and I heard a lot of people's perspectives on many things that I didn't know. Thursday, nothing really went down. I think I just had dance practice Friday, which was yesterday. I just hung out with my girls that I always hang out with, Daisy, Lily, and Jasmine. We hung out, and then I got home at maybe 12:30 because I could not sleep over just because I had such a busy day the next day. Okay, let's tell them what we had to do today.
Today was the day for preparation for our baptism tomorrow. So, as you can see, we're both very excited about that. I'm very tired. I'll explain why in a minute. But we have our baptism tomorrow. I'm so excited. I can't wait. We were talking about just the power of it and how you're really putting your faith on the stand and saying I believe, solidifying, and just it's such a beautiful thing. And even though you can be nervous about it, at the end of the day, it's just such an amazing thing that man, you're making your faith known. You know, you can have faith. I've had faith for 3 years, you know, strong faith for 3 years. However, I haven't, though the people might know that I'm a Christian, I haven't showed in the baptism way that I'm
100%.
showing it out.
Yeah, we had a little preparation at Starbucks, which I'm happy we met there. We got some coffee. Thank you, Carolyn, for buying us some coffee.
Yeah.
Really, we were trying to tell her no, but she insisted.
I literally I had my card out and ready.
Kayla, guys, I'm just gonna give you a tip. If you ever want to pay for Kayla, don't tell her that you're paying for her because she will say no. Just give it to her because this girl will not let you pay.
I can't. It's
won't.
So bad. I hate.
That's just a tip. If you want to buy her something, don't tell her you're gonna buy it.
The gifts and everything. I'm really bad. You give me a pair of earrings, You give me a necklace, you give me like a purse or something. I still struggle with that.
Yes.
I like always ask myself the why behind it.
Yeah.
Or like it can be as simple as a Starbucks drink. Like why? Like do I deserve anything? I'm really bad with gifts, but
yeah, it was definitely a good meeting, and I'm really happy we had it because I can like, we talked about some stuff and like why and talked questions. But other than that, I would say all three of us, including my sister, we are very excited for tomorrow. We're all really ready.
Our party.
Yes, so we're gonna have fun
celebration,
and we'll definitely update you guys about that.
Yeah,
as well.
Maybe a little vlog to come on our Insta.
We could probably post a little something.
A little something, so keep your eye out if we do.
Yes.
Yeah, my week has been pretty long but short at the same time. I had obviously church on Sunday. I don't actually know what was happening. Oh, Easter. Why am I blanking? It was Easter Sunday with me and some of our girls and Steven and Sam, if you know them. You know, if you don't, you don't. But we went out to Chili's, just had kind of like a little lunch, Then I got to have a little family Easter, which is amazing. I always love celebrating with my family. Family is a big thing for me. Monday, school. Tuesday, school. Wednesday, school. Track meet went well, though. Or did it? I don't actually remember. But I don't know. We're moving past that. But I got to run and throw, which was good. Then on Thursday, I didn't have school, and it was prom prep day. I was up and down, washing my car, going to Target, doing things with my sibling, having the worst track practice ever. I don't know why we're doing so many repeats. Then just hung out with my girls till 8 or 9 p.m. And Friday, prom day. I had such a fun time, such a blast. But I did end up coming home last night at 5 a.m. So I don't know how I'm functioning for today because I have work for 7 hours. But we're pushing, and I just keep thinking about tomorrow. So, sorry. Normally, don't talk this much about our week, but I feel like it's been a very compact week filled with so many stories. So
it feels like we haven't talked to you guys in forever, which really isn't the case. It was last Saturday, but so much has happened that it feels like it was 3 weeks ago. It feels like so long ago.
And we love informing you guys. I think it's so cool that even though not so many people watch these things, but the people who do, you guys keep coming back, and we love that. We love our supporters, and
we need new guests. So if you want to be on the podcast, you can text one of us, go to our Instagram, DM it,
sign up.
Yes.
On our little Google form.
Any topic is pretty much welcomed. We're open to talk about anything because we're actually running out of some topics. So let us know if you guys have any ideas.
Yes, we want to talk about topics that you guys are interested on.
Right.
So. Yeah, I feel like we've done that. If we haven't,
let us know.
Maybe don't. I don't know if I can take that. No, I'm joking. But today we're talking about confrontation, and after a very long intro, let's get started in Matthew 18:15. Matthew, I believe. 18. Last time I said that, it was not the
I have my Bible here today, guys. My physical one.
Ooh! She locked in.
I usually always have my...
Matthew 18. 15. Okay. Yeah, I like this one. Matthew Matthew 18:15. The title of this one is Dealing with Sin in the Church. Or I feel like it can be the title itself can be converted into dealing with sin in friends, dealing with situations at hand. When you read the New Testament, you can kind of take the situations, of course, consider the context, but move them into your life and kind of mold them to fit what you're thinking on. Anywho, it says, if your brother or sister sins, go and point out their fault, just between the two of you. If they listen to you, you have won them over. And then, let me do 16 too. But if they will not listen, take one or two others along so that every matter may be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. Wait, now let's go to 17. If they still refuse to listen, tell it to the church. And if they refuse to listen, even to the church, treat them as you would a pagan or a tax collector. And during that time, tax collectors, I believe, and pagans were just like kind of exiled. It was a weird situation because the tax collectors were not good people and the people didn't really like them. Mm-hmm. However, they still like listened and like had respect for certain things, but it was just very abrupt. Mm-hmm. And so this verse is really just like, first of all, handle the situation one on one. If you can't, bear witness. If you don't think you're strong enough, bear witness. Mm-hmm. Then, if those witnesses still don't help, taking it to the church, taking it back to God, the holy place, will always help curate the situation.
Right. 100%. And I feel like if you see somebody doing wrong, it's okay to correct them between the two of you. First, because like one thing for me, if I do something wrong in your eyes, or if there's something you need to tell me, I want it to be us. A conversation between me and you, and then that is like, and then that's how gossip starts, when everybody gets involved in certain ways. But like, I feel like if it's something that really matters and you're trying to help the person, like let's say I see Kayla over here, really struggling with something that she like needs help with, I'm gonna pull her aside and like, hey Kayla, I saw the way that you did this. You need to, I'm just saying that wasn't good. You need to do this. And if she doesn't listen, they said get two or more, so you could get people to come help. But the goal is to help, not to judge or gossip. So I feel like with that, going on to confrontation should only be between the person that you need to confront. Like, it doesn't need to be a crowd when you're confronting somebody about what they did, or, you know, really anything. I just feel like it doesn't always have to be a big crowd. It could just be two people having a conversation.
Yeah. But with that, I think it also depends on the situation or the context. And that's something you have to keep in mind. Let's say one of my friends was dealing with a situation and her boyfriend was being very disrespectful to her, and it's been time after time. Let's say something crazy, like he's abusing her, right? She's probably not going to be able to go have a conversation with him. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to try in one-on-one, but if you know, or if you think that you can't take it, take one of your closest people. Take someone you know will only help the situation.
Exactly.
And have them there for support. They're not there to be like, you're in the wrong. They're not there for that. They're here as a middleman, middle woman, middle something, to keep things flowing in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I also agree with that. It just depends on the conversation and like what's really going on in the moment. But I definitely think that if you do take someone, don't take somebody who would make it more of a problem. Take somebody who you know would help it. And that's what a lot of my friends come to me for. Because, and that's kind of what inspired me to kind of want to like go into therapy when I'm older, to help others. Because whenever my friends have an issue with each other, right, they get mad for that friend involving me. I'm gonna use Faith as an example. So like, let's say Faith and like Matt here are arguing, right? Faith will come to me and be like, hey, this and this is going on. They're both my friends, so I'm not biased, but I'm helping the situation by, in case anything happens, I'm like right there, and I'm like leading the conversation in a good way, because, you know, a fight could happen or something, so I'm like leading it and keeping them both under control. So that's kind of what it, like, to me, when it says you can bring someone, just if you're gonna bring somebody into a situation, make sure they're helping the situation and not making it worse, because then it just gets into a whole bigger thing. But like, I feel like don't just bring everybody into your situation. Bring the one person that you know can really just like be there as the mediator and like just helping it. Because
and I feel like this kind of goes into our gossip episode, where it's like, are you gossiping or informing?
Right, exactly.
Like, are you let's say there was a situation, right? I'm telling Samir about a situation that happened, and I'm like, can you believe he did this to me? And I'm not even trying to help the situation. Like, I'm telling her just to tell her. I'm not trying to fix her or anything. I'm just telling her to tell her to have that out there. That can turn into gossip real fast. Now switch it to informing. Hey girl, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm struggling. I need your help. Give me information on what I can do to make the situation better. Because sometimes it's really better to have an outside perspective, because there could be situations that are a lot to handle on your back. For me personally, I've gotten to the point where I just deal with it. However, for some other people, that's harder. And so I feel like really going to that friend with the right intentions is very, 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 very important.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like, what's it called? I feel like gossip can go a lot of ways, but if I come to you about a person, it's because of my experience with them. I'm talking about what Samira was involved in. I'm talking about me. If I'm involved with, let's say, me and Lily, okay? Let's say me and Lily said something to me that hurt my feelings. I'm like telling you what happened to me personally. Like, I feel like I'm allowed to talk about myself to you and about the situation, or if I'm like upset and I don't know how to handle it or whatever. But it's not to bash Lily, if that makes sense. Like, let's say Lily and me are arguing this, and this, and I'm like, okay, well, like, did you hear what Lily did last weekend? Like, she did this. Like, that's why, like, I won the argument. That's like gossiping. But if I'm saying, like, she said this to me and it hurt my feelings, that's not gossiping. It's in, like, going to somebody because they can help you, and you're not gossiping. You're talking about a situation that involves you. That's why I feel like, do not talk about somebody's situation or just about them if they can't defend themselves. Or if you wouldn't say that to their face, then it's gossiping.
Yeah.
Like, if I say, like, oh, Jasmine's really loud, I wouldn't say that to anybody else if I wouldn't say it to her. That's my thing. Like, I can talk, if I talk about you, it's because I already said that to you. Like, I'm not going to put your name under the dirt in front of other people.
Right.
If that makes sense. So, yeah. I feel like gossip and informing can go south. Informing can turn into gossiping.
And I feel like you can get caught in that too. And I have a perfect example here. I was sitting at lunch. I'm going to be very vague on this because, but I was sitting at lunch, and in the morning, something had happened with one of my friends. And it was not her fault, it was the other person's fault. Someone at my table mentioned how it was her fault. I said, no, it was not her fault. And they're like, no, it was. And I was like, no, this is what happened. She came to the table when I was talking about what happened. And she said, why are you telling everybody what happened? Why are you doing that? My intention was to inform the people it's not her fault. Stop painting the blame. She came to the table. She was like, Kayla, what the heckity heck? Why are you saying my side? I said, no, that's not what it is. And I was like, are you mad at me? And she was like, yes. And she walked away. So I went after her and I said, here's what happened. I know it didn't look like this, but here's what happened. And she was like, oh. There has to be also a realization, because sometimes you really can be gossiping, but sometimes you're informing and people think you're gossiping.
Yes, I also agree. And, like, there could be two ways. Like, if I really, really come to Kayla and I'm like, Kayla, please don't even bring this up to anybody. Not the situation, not anything with my name. I just want to, I'm only telling you. Like, nobody should even know that the situation exists. Then that's when Kayla should know not to even talk about it to inform anyone, because that's where I draw the line. But if you're saying, it's different if I'm, like, talking to her about, like, hey, I'm struggling with something really bad, you're worried about me, you could inform others. No, actually, not like that.
I feel like when it gets told to you, it needs to stay to you.
Basically, what I'm saying is, if I tell Kayla not to say anything about the situation, she should not open her mouth. But it's in different contexts. Like, if somebody asks me, where's Kayla? I'll be like, oh, she's at blah, blah, blah. She's at a party. I'm informing them, but I'm not telling them, like, you're everything, like, why you're at the party, why you're not here, who's at the party, what party it is. Like, I just feel like there's a line. And you should know when to keep stuff to yourself when somebody tells you something. You should know the line.
And that's a big thing with confrontation too, is like if someone does
I'm gonna confront somebody literally tomorrow. Y'all, like, literally, this is like, it's tiny stuff, but I still just feel like, what was the point? And I don't like when you try to clock me on my wrongs, but when I clock you, then it turns into what? Something like I'm wrong for.
It turns into like what the other person would say childish behavior, but it's not.
Right, because I like told some. I'm not naming names, but I told you this. You want to go tell somebody else. They come back to me with it, and I'm wondering why I had to open up your mouth.
That's not real. Let that be known. I didn't do that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Kayla.
No, I didn't do that.
Wondering, I'm gonna confront them and be like, what was the point? Like, do you know why this person's coming to me about this? Because I didn't tell them, and I just like I'm confronting them because if I tell you something, I'm trusting you with it. And it doesn't have to always be spoken like, do not tell anybody. Do not tell anybody. Okay, this is my main thing. I do not like when I tell someone something, they go tell a billion other people, and I'm like, why would you do this? She's like, well, you didn't tell me to keep it a secret, girl.
Yeah, I don't like that too, bro. Like one of my biggest things is judgment on the situation. If someone is telling you something and there's not anybody else around and it's pretty deep
and it's pretty private,
they don't have to say keep it a secret. They don't have to say don't tell anybody for me to not tell anybody.
Right, and I also feel like that just goes with common sense to a point. Like literally, you don't want them to say don't tell anybody, or like if I start off the conversation with I've only told you this, or I'm just gonna tell you this, it's in your brain that you should keep it to yourself, no matter how big of a mouth you may have, because you never know if that was like my deepest secret that I never wanted to get out, So
yeah,
and it's an unspoken rule. Like judging the situation, if you are alone with that person, if they wanted everybody to know, they would have told everybody. Like what?
On their own, bro.
Like and then it's not your situation to talk about either.
Exactly. And like one of my biggest things is when someone's telling me something and like don't tell anybody, and then they repeat it. I'm like, girl, you don't have to repeat it. You're good. That's one of my biggest things. Like you tell me something, it's staying with me. Only under due circumstances where that stuff needs to be said, will I share. And it's normally when it relates to me. No, it's almost always like there's only been one situation I can think of where it didn't relate to me, but it was just like it needed to be said.
Right, and I feel like when it's like something for helping, it needs to be said. Like I'm not gonna go too deep into this, but I had this friend that made a very bad decision, or whatever. She snuck somebody in the night, blah. And just I know you guys are probably thinking, why talking about this? But I'm gonna get to that. Whatever. Me and my friend, we knew that she was doing this prior, but we're like, we're not gonna be snitches and tell her mom, right? It got to a point where it started to look too much. We cared for her, so we told her mom. Her mom asked us questions, so we told her everything. Yes, my friend was a little mad, but then she came to us. She's like, I understand you guys care. If I don't care about you, like, how do I say this? Like, it was not my business to share, but it got to a point where it needed to be brought up because I was worried and we cared for her. So I feel like there's a point where you can talk about somebody's situation if it needs to be helped.
Yeah, and like you normally, even with those things, you really have to explain yourself.
Hold on, my foot is asleep. I shake it. Okay, continue.
Okay, continue. I'm ready, the princess herself. Yeah, and I feel like that's where I get really good at confrontation. It could be any situation. Let's say normally I only confront about me, but I'll confront for my siblings. I'll confront for my closest people. But before I do it, if I'm confronting for Samira, I'm asking about it. Do you want me to do this? Yeah. Are you sure? Because really, it's to her to confront, but if, let's say she wasn't strong enough to, I don't have a problem with it. Because when someone who you can trust knows your side of the story, and they're not there to battle, they're there to fix it, that's when you're like, okay,
right,
we can work through this. However, man, confrontation for me is so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily like confrontation when it ruins things.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you confront somebody, ruins an entire relationship.
Right.
But if that confrontation where I went in with the right mindset to fix it ruins that relationship, then I know that relationship wasn't for me. So, I have my verse.
She just clocked.
If you guys can think about that, if that confrontation where I went in with the right intentions ruins the relationship, it's not for me.
So I feel like a relationship can handle a little confrontation, like if it's deep, if that makes sense.
My friends
like,
are different from me.
If Kayla has like did something, even though she hasn't done something wrong to me, but if she does and I confront her, we're still gonna be fine. But if I confronted her, then we're just not friends after that, then that means like it wasn't worth it anyways.
Then it wasn't right on me.
Especially if you're like expressing your feelings to them too.
Real friends will stick around.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, I'm just gonna say their names. Zoe and Bella, I remember at the beginning of September, November, October is next, right?
Mm-hmm.
October, towards the end of October, the month, what's after October?
November.
Towards the beginning of November, I had a little coffee date with my gals. And I had some information to share about my life. These are girls I trust. These are girls I know would never do anything to me wrongly.
Mm-hmm.
So I told them, and they said, Kayla, that's not you. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, but it's something I'm excited about. Kayla, let's get your mind straight. No. They confronted me. They said, it could have been as simple as how I dress. You know, they were like, this is not the way you used to dress, and like it's okay if you change, and they told me if you continue to make decisions, we'll still love you. Mm-hmm. However, and they weren't situations that were that bad, but these girls will clock my tea.
Right.
They'll clock anything in order to help me because these are people who care about me. And if I couldn't take that, and if I ran away, then that's on me. Mm-hmm. Because if you can't take someone telling you something, mm-hmm. and you're just like, okay, let me start to distance. Mm-hmm. Okay, distance yourself.
Right.
But those people tried to help you at the end of the day.
Right, exactly. And I feel like...
Oh, gosh. You know who we just clocked.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. I feel like if somebody's trying to help you, you should not take offense to it. Which, for me, I'd rather have you tell me, like, about how, like, oh, Samira, you're changing, which I've had my friends come to me and, like, say, like, you're kind of changing, and, like, you know, we don't go to the same school anymore. My, like, real, like, my girls, we don't go to the same school, so, like, you're changing, like, you're not the same. And I'm like, guys, because we, like, value different stuff. I've grown so much since I left Valley. Mm-hmm. Just in general, like I've grown in my faith, I've grown as a person. I don't see like the same things you guys like find like mean. I don't find it mean. I find it the truth. If that
wait, that makes sense.
If what I'm saying is like we still get along in like every aspect, mm-hmm. but we view stuff so differently. Like literally, I'm gonna use this as an excuse, and she's gonna find this funny, so it's not gonna be a joke. It's not nothing. Like Faith could be crying because they got her Starbucks order wrong, and she would think it's the end of the world. And I used to be just like that, but then I like grew, which doesn't mean they're not growing. It does not mean that, but I'm just like in a different spot, mm-hmm. and like for me, I just wouldn't think that's a big deal. So then I never distanced myself on purpose, if that makes sense. It just happened. Like it went. But I still care, and I still checked up on them. We still have a relationship. We just don't see eye to eye in everything, and that's fine. But we get along.
You'll never see eye to eye. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if I go, and I still do this. I literally did this yesterday. I'm like, Faith, like you're acting wrong. You're overreacting, which I know some people don't want to hear, but I'm like keeping her in check because like if she's crashing out at the group chat, I'm like, you don't need to do all that, because I care. And if she takes that in a way and then doesn't want to be my friend anymore, that's her, because I had the right intentions. Like, mm-hmm. I'm trying to help you. And then the main thing with me at the end of the day, like if you're my friend and I care about you, I mm-hmm. will help you. Like if you're acting really mean to somebody, I'm gonna tell you, because that's not what I stand for. Or if I'm seeing how you're like treating others, I'm gonna like check you too. Like I'll clock you guys, because with clocking comes with me caring.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't confront somebody unless I care about the situation. There's been times where I haven't confronted people and I've just let go of it because I just gave up on caring about the situation. And that's so hard to say. But if I don't care about you enough, unfortunately, bye. Because it's like some situations are just like, it's not worth it if you never saw the value that they were putting in.
Right. And then, like,
and that's hard to say, but it's
for
true.
me, confronting, sometimes I just don't see the point in confronting if they aren't going to listen. They're not going to care. Like, you can only confront the same person so much times until you need to just cut them out.
Yeah.
And especially if it's about like the same situation, I feel like at that point, and like I've just learned not to care about certain stuff.
Yeah.
Like life will go on. I'm fine. I'm so happy as can be, still chilling. So if it doesn't really affect me much, I won't confront it. But if I notice that it's taking me down and I'm like upset, then I'll confront it. But if I have no feelings about it, then it will be whatever. It's gonna stay in the air.
And this is why I love confrontation. Because it really like confrontation makes you think about things differently.
Yeah.
It makes your brain change and turn and you know. I remember there was a situation I was so mad about my earrings, bro. And oh my gosh, it was just a rough week. These dentists had screwed up my teeth the first time, had to go in again, then they screwed it up again, had to go in again. I was getting my hair braided, the line was off, had to do it again. Now I'd got my earrings done, the spacing was off, had to do it again. So I was getting upset. I was like, I am so upset. Why do I have to continue to do things over and over and over and over and over again? And my friend said, just be grateful. Be grateful you can. And like, I think I'm a grateful person, but I see where they're coming from. They confronted me on it because imagine your friend is hearing you complain.
Yeah.
Not that necessarily I was, but he was. They were hearing, they were hearing me complain, and so I said, "You're right." Because sometimes you have to be willing to hear their side because they have a point too. People don't just say things to say things if they care about you.
Right, and then also like you don't always realize what you're doing as yourself. You don't always realize because like sometimes I don't realize when I'm like maybe raising my voice or having an attitude. Like I really don't realize it. So when Daisy comes and tells me, Samira, like you were kind of raising your voice. Like this literally happened last week, and I'm just gonna give this really quick example. I went to church and me and my mom were talking. I thought we were just talking, but apparently Lily was saying that I was raising my voice, and Jasmine like you're raising your voice, and I was like, I didn't realize it. Like I don't think I was. So then I thought, and they're like, Samira, you're raising your voice, just, and they came to check me about it in private, you know, because that's what real friends do. They care, and she saw that I was doing wrong, so she came and confronted me about it, and I was like, okay, you're right, I was, and I went to talk to my mom and I said, I'm sorry, because in the moment I didn't see it as like anything. I'm just like talking to her about something that we were kind of like disagreeing about, but
yeah.
I just feel like sometimes you just don't realize for yourself, and that's what friends are for, to help you realize, and you don't realize.
Yeah, friends are so important for that. Like I remember we were at the Chili's, bro, and I just told the waiter to like can you grab us some chips and salsa, please? And like I said it apparently in a sassy way, and they said it's probably because you're Kenyan, and they're like half Kenyan, so like just didn't hit right.
Oh my
like, oh my gosh! But they're like, yeah, that was kind of like rude and disrespectful because like your voice like became snappy, and I was like, oh shoot, I didn't realize they like clocked me, and it's good that they did because I apologized, and she was like, no, you're good, Biz. I know you didn't mean it like that, and like it got solved. But now when I'm at a restaurant, I watch how I speak to the waiter.
Exactly. And then I feel like it's also good to have friends that are willing to correct you, because some of them are really scared, which I know you can like be scared to see how they react, but at the end of the day, you don't know who else would tell them. If they don't know themselves, you have to tell them. And yeah, I bet now you like when you're at a restaurant, you know, to try to watch yourself. And now like when I'm talking to my mom, I try to like watch my tone a lot more, so I can like catch myself if I do raise my voice, because that's never the intention ever, because my mom has more power over me. But basically, what I'm saying is when somebody corrects you, you know, to try not to do it again, and that's what the good part is.
Yeah. And I have another verse, and it's Proverbs 15:1.
15:1.
And it says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." Of course we have. Everything connects. Gosh, this Bible has so many loopholes.
Proverbs what?
Proverbs 15:1. Okay. "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger."
Yeah, I have it highlighted. You definitely did.
Yeah. And that's okay. We love connections. Go watch every single other podcast if you haven't heard us yet. No,
I also feel like with that verse, it kind of goes into confrontation, because like you can either confront it in a calm voice, or you could just start yelling at them.
Yeah, because
and the conversation will go different ways.
A gentle answer. Hey, I didn't like how you treated me. It wasn't good. And I can be clocking myself now. There's one situation I think of where I was so mad at how they treated me, rightfully so. But I was so mad. I was like, this is what you are. This is how you treated me. Right. I see who you are. I see what the distance has been brought. You know, like I just started listing after list after list, and everything I was saying was true, but it was so harsh. It was such harsh words. Not necessarily cussing or anything, but it was such harsh words that cut so deeply because I wanted them to know, and a gentle answer would have done it.
Yeah. 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's just something I keep in mind whenever I confront, like, just keep it gentle. Like, if you start getting all harsh and stuff, it affects you too. If you come in with an angry mindset, like, gosh, dang, I don't like you, da-da-da.
Right.
That is so much more hateful and sorrowful and everything versus just saying, hey, can you fix this? It hurt my feelings.
Like, for example, if somebody says something, because I don't know why, but like, if you know me, I mean, like if somebody says something mean to me, like it catches me off guard, so I'm like laughing, but then I'm appalled and be like, oh, like that kind of.
You think about it later.
Yeah, I'll think about it later. But basically, I think that having a calm voice can really change the conversation besides you yelling. And I've been working on that personally. If I'm talking or confronting something, I'm gonna be like, I didn't like that, and I'm gonna have to fight. No, I'm just joking.
I'm gonna have to actually clock you.
But I just be like, I didn't like that, and I keep your voice subtle and calm. And if that person gets loud, I've learned to let them get loud.
Let them get loud. You stay gentle.
Because then when it's screaming, it's just not gonna get the conversation to an end. When you're calm and they're yelling, you let them get loud. You stay calm because you know you're confronting them, and if you're not in the wrong, there's no reason to get loud. If you know, like, this is my thing. If you come over here, like, accusing me of, like, let's say, talking bad about you, I know in my heart I didn't do that. Why am I gonna argue? You know? Like, if you're like, Samira, I know you said this and this, I'm like, I didn't say that, but okay. And you're gonna be like, no, because I know this, this, and this. You're yelling and yelling and yelling. I'm not gonna yell back, because what am I arguing for if you know you didn't do it? So I feel like when you yell back, you seem more like guilty, like you seem more in the wrong. If you know that you're not in the wrong, just stay calm.
Same with parents, bro. And parents hate it when you get gentle. But if I know I'm not in the wrong, why am I raising my voice? So I stopped raising my voice. My poor mom, bro. But you know what? It's taught a lot of lessons. Now when she has something to say, now we speak regularly because it's a regular conversation.
Right.
Fix it, get it done, over. Fix it, get done, over.
Like,
that's
for
how it
me,
needs to be.
If she raises her voice at me like, oh, I didn't listen to her, I was supposed to be home at 9 and I come home at like 11. She can yell at me and I'm gonna let her yell because I know I was in the wrong. Like, I know that I did something wrong, so I'm not gonna try to argue, or I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'm sorry, and it's not gonna happen again. And you know, moms, you guys all probably know this. Well, they're just gonna keep talking, and when you say okay, it makes it worse. When you're silent, it makes it worse too. So you gotta really know how to play it like out.
Like, every parent is different though.
Yeah, for my mom, like if she's like yelling at me, she just wants you to be quiet. She doesn't want you to retaliate. Like, she doesn't want you to yell back. She doesn't want you to respond. She's like, I'm so tired of cleaning the house up by myself. She doesn't want you to yell back and be like, no, you don't. She wants to just, you be like, okay, or just be quiet. So for me,
get off your chest.
Like, also, but then if she comes to me saying, you're not necessarily my mom, but like, if you come to me with information that never happened and I know I didn't do that, I don't get loud. But if me and my mom are both, she's saying that I did something or saying that I was disrespecting her, but that wasn't my intentions, I'm going to try to voice my opinion. But it gets to a point where sometimes you got to let the other person talk because it's not worth your mouth. Especially against parents, though. For me, I'll get my opinion when she's done yelling. Like, you let her yell and be upset. I'm like quiet. I'll wait for her to settle down and be like, okay, mom, I just wanted to say that wasn't my intentions, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not worth to yell against someone. I don't think it's worth it. Like, have a conversation and it could be subtle and it could be calm and we could get it over with.
I just found one more verse and I didn't have anything about it.
Yeah.
But I looked down when you were saying that. Proverbs 13:10.
Okay.
Where there is strife, there is pride. But wisdom is found in those who take advice. So, today, ending, take some of our advice. Maybe not all of it is 100%. We never claim it to be 100%. However, take some advice. Be calm when you're confronting. But overall, confronting a situation instead of waiting for it to die out is way better. When you wait for a situation to die out, your pain inside of you is so much worse than if you would have just handled it straight up front and center.
Right.
So take it on, deal with it, and get through it. Yes. And honestly, that's our podcast for today.
Yes, confrontation is completely okay, but just know that it doesn't always have to be an argument to confront somebody.
No, in fact, it shouldn't be an argument to confront somebody. Real confrontation is a conversation with a point.
Yes, and you don't have to get loud. You could say subtle and nice. And just remember, if somebody that you're confronting gets loud with you, you do not need to match energy.
No.
Get your point across and leave the conversation.
Facts. And that's literally it for today's episode, you guys.
Yes.
This is your unscripted podcast with
S
and K. We love you guys so much. Make sure to follow all the platforms. Bye, you guys. Bye.